While Hollywood continues to flounder at the beginning of 2024, video games right now are experiencing quite a boom. You see a couple of the big hits this year. Pal World still in six digits, 140,000 people playing over the past weekend. And then you got Helldivers 2 for the people that are lucky enough to actually connect to the servers. I think they might actually have that ironed out right now, but over 400,000 concurrent players gaming. At least in the Steam world, and we aren't even talking about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I swear to God, I'll be able to stop talking about it in the past sense, because it's eventually going to come out, and well, I'll eventually have to shut up about it, because I'll eventually beat it, okay? And I'll stop making reference to it every time we talk about gaming. But guys, it's absolutely killing it over here. But now we have two of the biggest releases of the year, Helldivers 2, Pal World, Last Epoch, I think it just showed up in early access, and it's performing exceptionally well. Like, there's also, Enshrouded and a couple of other games in there as well. But when it comes to AAA releases, like I said, outside of Final Fantasy Rebirth that's coming out, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, let's get it correct, okay? Is one of its biggest cheerleaders. It's coming out at the 29th of this month, right there it's a good way to send off February. But something that helped ring in February, well, you can see not on this list at all whatsoever, and that would be Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. And as you can see from there, boy, like the last time that I talked about this, it was being trounced just by the previous installation in the Rocksteady Arkham Batman universe with the Arkham Knight, which during its release had a bit of a trepidatious start in 2015, but has since rebounded to be a pretty good installment from what I hear. I've got a copy and I'll eventually have to boot them up, and frankly I got to play through that entire franchise because I own them on multiple different platforms, but I haven't played them. Okay, sue me. But I can tell you I will not be playing this one, and frankly nobody else is playing it. 704 players in the past 5 hours at the time of recording. This is at the tail end of the weekend, just, for full transparency. But then you have in the past, over the weekend, 900 people. 900 people is your peak. The game is dead. And even the publisher has to admit that. Warner Brothers Discovery admits Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League has fallen short of our expectations, foresees a tough year for games division as they try to recover from the title's failure. I don't know what else is on the list of releases for them specifically, but this one's going to sting for a long time because they had high hopes for this, right? Because it's leveraging all of their most lucrative DC properties. But guess what? When you have The Flash, when you have Superman, when you have Batman, you have the final performance of Batman by Kevin Conroy, and what do you end up doing? Focusing too much on Harley Quinn at the tail end of anybody pretending to be able to give a shit about her character. You get what you deserve. But hey, maybe your popularity will get resuscitated by Joker 2 when it comes out. Oh boy. To the surprise of no one, who so much as saw a trailer for the villain-led live service Nightmare, Warner Brothers Discovery has admitted that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has not only been a sales disaster, but its bombing is also set to have a detrimental effect on the performances of the video game division, as if Warner Brothers didn't need any more bad news. It makes absolutely no sense why they wanted to kneecap 2's theatrical release, but they are a stupid company. The failure of Rocksteady's widely panned Arkham series follow-up was first officially confirmed by Warner Brothers Discovery Chief Financial Officer Gunnar Wiedenfels. Wow, that's a strong name. On February 23rd, amidst the company's Q4 2023 earnings calls. Interesting. Providing investors with a rough outlook of what they could expect financially from the company's studio segment, which primarily handles its film, television licensing, and interactive gaming operations in the coming year. Weidenfels explained of their video game prospects specifically, we are lapping the release of Hogwarts Legacy in February of last year, which saw the largest portion of its very positive financial impact in the first quarter. This year, Suicide Squad, one of our key video game releases in 2024, has fallen short of expectations since its release earlier this quarter, setting our game's business up for a tough year-over-year comparison in Q1. Yeah, you have the best-selling video game in 2023 in the form of Hogwarts Legacy, followed up by quite possibly the biggest bomb in gaming. Although we are very early in the year so far in all of 2024, but I still think that by the end of the year, we'll be looking back to this point, if anybody even remembers this game, going, wow, they spent how many millions of dollars, how many hundreds of millions of dollars on this game, only for less than 1,000 people in under a month of its release concurrently playing. Yo, man, it's big tough, but you did it to yourself. Further, the CFO also revealed that the studio segment's finances would not even have a chance to fully recover from Suicide Squad's more than disappointing performance. Oh, so this is going to be a company-wide problem. Oopsie daisy. Before they would take another hit on the film side, Q1 will be burdened with the marketing campaigns of Dune 2 and Godzilla v. Kong. Which opens up at the very end of the quarter. Well, yeah, exactly. Like I said, Dune 2, it's going to be good, but Godzilla v. Kong, I don't know. I really don't know how to read those because, yeah, they're big, dumb, goofy fun, but they aren't good films. They aren't memorable films, but are people going to go see them? I don't know, big lizard and giant monkey, who knows, potentially. As noted above, the disastrous outcome of Rocksteady's latest outing comes as very little surprise given the abysmal quality of every aspect. Say maybe it's models and animation. Yeah, it's a good looking game, but character design it's lacking. It's lacking. That is, if you can see anything online, because, you know, there's your standard AI, there's your snapshot of gameplay, and holy shit, that's busy. From its repetitive and boring mission design to its aggressively obnoxious UI, yes, to the exorbitant prices of its microtransactions. Like, I've talked about watching Mahler's full playthrough, and, well, he didn't engage in any of the microtransactions, and I've just heard secondhand just how pernicious this is. Like, some costume bundles cost upward of $25 real on top of a, $100 deluxe edition. You got to pay an additional $25 just for some pixels? Hell, man. Remember when people were spurging out about horse armor back in Oblivion days? How far we have fallen. Not to its terribly written narrative, shameless disregard for the very trilogy of titles that had made its existence possible in the first place. And of course, hey man, don't forget about Arkham Origins. I understand that it's just outside the auspices of the Rocksteady trilogy, but hey man, it's supplementary material. A hell of a lot better than Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Like, come on, man. The list of issues present within Kill the Justice League is one of the lengthiest and most damning in video game history. Yeah, if you don't like the narrative, but you like the gameplay, well, you're coping. Because how many of those people that were making that faint praise are continuing to play the game? Chances are, didn't play more than a minute to begin with. There are so many issues outside of the obvious disrespect of the late great Kevin Conroy, outside of the legacy of any one of those DC metahumans. Gameplay blows. The constant quipping, the character writing is abysmal, and the pernicious live service, the worst aspects of modern video gaming getting shoehorned into every orifice, that's enough to just really push people over the edge. Yes, man, just running back all of the numbers, which is always what I'm far more interested in, rather, yeah, evident by the fact that the game has only managed to pull a peak Steam concurrent player count, and it's never going to hit those numbers again. 13,459, less than half of the peak of the experience by fellow superhero-themed live service title during 2020, mind you. Okay, Marvel's The Avengers, it's shared by the vast majority of players. Yes, Marvel's Avengers peaked north of 31,000 players, which was still terrible during its launch weekend, and then yes, only 13,459 for Suicide Squad in its opening weekend. It's terrible. It's absolutely abysmal. In other words, the game is bad. Its poor sales performance is a reflection of this fact. Yeah, there's no way to polish this turd, guys. It's a bomb. Ultimately, whether or not Warner Brothers Discovery can turn their video games division's luck around, either through a miraculous revamping of the Suicide Squad, yes, just like Final Fantasy XIV, but we're also not seeing the capitulation like was the abysmal release of the, Final Fantasy XIV, and then, what was it, like, in less than a year. My specifics on that one are a little bit off. They immediately came out and was like, yeah, no, the borked release, and then did the Realm Reborn relaunch not that long afterwards, and well, Final Fantasy XIV is still going strong. Or in a different sense, okay, you had No Man's Sky, which was teased and then released with absolutely no content, and now in today's day and age, it's apparently a pretty good game for everything, for the people that gave it a second chance. But you don't see that same type of hubris this time around. But you had Final Fantasy XIV that had some pretty good mechanics to begin with. You had No Man's Sky, which was an indie game that had a lot of goodwill behind it. It just had, both of them had very bad releases. Then you had those companies and those people take responsibility for those, and because of the goodwill that was fostered there, were given a second chance, and they took that second chance and ran with it. Suicide Squad, on the other hand, well, they don't quite have that same good faith behind them, for the myriad of reasons that I've explained beforehand. And then, of course, them coming from a pedigree with Warner Brothers, where they unironically led how many DC EU films after the announcement that James Gunn was going to be rebooting the universe. They just led them out like lambs to slaughter. You're dealing with one of the dumbest companies on the face of the earth, and another reason why they're probably going to be undergoing the third merger, fourth merger in under 5 years. Outside of a couple of bright spots, don't need to mention it again, in the AAA gaming space, it's an industry that is simply racing that of big Hollywood into the ground. We're on the precipice of a big entertainment crash, and the people in the independent sphere, in the AA, in the independent realm, we're just standing on the outside going, well, that really is a shame you put yourself in that situation. Sucks to suck, I guess. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.